The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the signup.com demo. This is Lisa Boyd, and I'll be the host for this webinar today. Ross Safford is also sitting here with me. Say hi, Ross.
Hi, everybody.
Today, we're going to have Jess Swanson, Volunteer Services Coordinator at Second Harvest, who, as you know, has been involved with the Fresh Pilot from the beginning. She'll be showing us a demonstration of the online volunteer registration application, signup.com. We really want to thank you for helping us test this application as part of the FRESH program. We're still learning about it too. Before I turn it over to Jess, I just want to cover some quick housekeeping details. We have plenty of time during this webinar meeting to answer any questions you might have. If you have questions as you go along, you can feel free to enter them in the question or the chat box. This is located in the control panel, which is the box that's on the right of your screen. All your lines are muted right now, so you don't need to worry about background noise. But if you'd like your line to be unmuted, you can quote unquote raise your hand. You should see a little hand icon on the little bar to the left of the control panel that's on the right. I will be monitoring that, and I can unmute you for a question if I see your hand go up, and you can also type it in the chat box. We are recording this webinar, and we'll make it accessible on Agency Zone for anyone else who wants to check this out. That should happen in the next week or so. And then watch for a follow-up email with a link to the recording and any additional resources that we find might be needed after today. Finally, since we have all three of our folks opting into signup.com, I understand that each of you is going to need to select the month-to-month option of signup.com because it was either month-to-month or 12 months, and we're only asking you to test this for 6. So I will still process a check for the full cost for the 6 months. I know 2 of you have already sent me your receipt for the first month. The third agency can just do the same thing, and I'll work on processing that reimbursement. And now I am going to turn it over to Jess.
Hello, everybody. Just as a quick caveat, I am getting over a cold, so I'll try to keep my sniffling and coughing to a minimum, but I apologize for that. Also, this is, I've been playing around with this application for the last couple weeks, just seeing all of the usability that is at this level that we have you at. But as we actually start using it and you start using it, if questions come up or other things happen beyond just what I know from playing around with it, you do have great support system from the website itself, but we also have Dan, who is from Prism, who is one of the Fresh partners. They actually use signup.com, and we can use him as a sounding board as well. If there's questions I'm not able to answer or whatnot, he will be a great resource for us as well. So I thought today what I would go ahead and do, go through just setting up how to set up a sample fresh produce distribution calendar, go through kind of the ins and the outs and what is available, and then I've also set up previously a sample one and registered myself as a volunteer a couple times so you can see what it looks like when there are actual volunteers signed up and what reports look like and what spreadsheets look like and whatnot as well. Like Lisa mentioned, if you do have a question, please chime in. If I'm going too fast, you want me to back up, certainly let Lisa know so that she can flag me and I can back up. But we will have plenty of time for questions at the end as well. So we'll just go ahead and get started. So this is the generic signup.com page. Once you have signed in and created your account, this is the main page that you will log into. It pops open on your dashboard. And this is where you'll be able to see all of the signups, as they call them. So you can see this sample one that I've already created. So as you add more opportunities, say you want to use this for a special event, so you create a new sign up, you'll see them start getting listed one by one. All of the specific dates for a fresh produce you're going to have in one sign up rather than creating a separate sign up account for each date. And as we go through this, that will make more sense. But this is your opening page and dashboard, kind of your home page. I'm just going to start from the very beginning, and I'm going to create a sign up for one of our new fresh produce distribution partners, just so you can see all of that. So bright orange button right at the top, create a new sign up. It'll bring you to a step-by-step process, and there's 4 steps to creating the page. So setup kind, you'll want to choose single or multiple days. This means that you'll actually have the opportunity to select a specific date and time for your sign up. If you didn't have a specific day, you could choose specific day that's more for either ongoing needs or something that doesn't have a set day, like say you need somebody to stuff some envelopes, and it's kind of an ongoing need and it can be flexible. So for this purpose, you'll want to select single or multiple days. They give a variety of different categories. I've just been choosing nonprofit for our purpose here. The next section is the name. So this is what the volunteers are going to be seeing this opportunity called. So for our purposes right now, I'm just going to call it Fresh Produce Distribution St. Paul. There's an opportunity to provide a little welcome message. So further on in the process, you can provide specific details about maybe what the volunteers will need to wear or any information you want them to know ahead of time. But this can be an opportunity where you just share a welcome message, a little bit more about what this opportunity is. I went ahead and took the welcome message from our website that we use at Second Harvest, and I created this cheat sheet document for myself so that I can copy and paste rather than having to retype for every distribution, and you'll see that come in handy for more of these details down below. But I just did a quick welcome message that says, love being outside and getting fresh food to our hungry neighbors. Spend time with Second Harvest Heartland at one of our fresh produce distributions. When you volunteer at a fresh produce distribution, you sort food, set up food stations, provide friendly service, and put food directly into the hands of our hungry neighbors. Some volunteers may also assist with client tracking. This is a great opportunity for individuals and small groups to serve in a fun and energetic environment. So that's just kind of the preview message that they're going to be getting as they log in to sign up. The location, pretty straightforward. We're going to use the address for our Mount Olivet Lab School Fresh Partner Distribution. These checkboxes allow you to control how the invitations are shared and how people are using the site. So you can allow participants to share their invitation with others or not. I don't know why you wouldn't want them to share. The more people that see the opportunity, the better, but there may be opportunities where you only have 1 or 2 spots and you really just have a select number of volunteers, or there's a very specific role that you have a couple people in mind for, but you don't want the mass of your volunteer list to see that opportunity. That might be a reason why you would limit who they can share the invitation to. Allow participants to see who else has signed up or commented. This gives them the opportunity to see if their friends have registered, if they're trying to register multiple people, to see previously who they've got and who they've got left to sign up. And then the third option, allowing participants to swap spots. So this means once they're signed up for a spot, all of a sudden that date doesn't work, but a different date can work. They can go in and themselves swap their spots instead of you having to do that for them on the back end. Once you've set up the general information for your opportunity, the next step is organizer information. And so you can just put in your main organizer information. This is the information that volunteers will see as they sign up as the contact information. So I'm just adding volunteer coordinator and then the phone number that I want them to contact me at. In this initial setup phase, you'll only be able to add one organizer. However, once you've completed the entirety of setting up this opportunity, you can go back in and assign other users to be able to be an organizer for this event to modify information and whatnot. So initially one person, but then once the setup is complete, you can add additional users, and that is one of the benefits of the level of membership that you're at, and I believe it's up to 4 additional organizers at this level as well. So while you can still be the main account holder, others can go in and modify using their own account. And then this is another opportunity where you get to individualize what information you're wanting to get from your volunteers. So at the free level, it would only be these first 3 options. And at the level that we are at, the $24.99 a month, you get 3 additional original fields that you can add. So full name and email address are always going to be required. The phone number, you can choose for that to be a required field or not. That's up to you. Now here's where you're adding those 3 additional questions or information fields that you want to gather. For example, we can ask, you know, if you're wanting to know the zip code of your volunteers, you can add that. And then you just click add a field to add your second and add your third. So maybe you want to ask, have you volunteered with us before? And then how did you hear about this opportunity? You might have to type these in. I used these questions in the previous setup, so they're popping up for me. But you can do, are you an adult or youth? You can find out any information that you want beyond just the full name, email, and phone number for your volunteers. And I think that's a really cool feature. And you can change that from sign up to sign up, but once it's set for this fresh produce distribution, all the volunteers are going to get these same questions. You can't change it from date to date, but you can go back and say the first round you remembered a different thing that you will find more valuable to have the information of, like, oh, I have zip code, have you volunteered, and how did you hear? But really, zip code, I don't know that I really care about that. I would rather know if they're youth or adults so that I can monitor that. You can go back and change these questions for that next event moving forward. And then once you've got all of this general details for your opportunity, then you click Next. And now it's asking you to actually add the spots to this. So this is where you're going to be adding all of the dates that you want. So you can either click on the orange button up at the top right to create a new spot, or you can find the date on the calendar and click to plan. So from all of it, the first date is going to be July 22nd. So I'm going to create a new spot. At the top here, it says this is where you put in how many volunteer spots you want. So we want 18 people to do or attend, and then the fresh produce distribution. Why that field is there is in case you did want to divide out your spots by, I want 2 people to do client tracking, I want 5 people to help with grocery carrying, and then I want 10 people to help with the actual distribution of produce. I would recommend in this scenario not necessarily doing it that way, just so you have flexibility on site to determine whether volunteers are capable versus letting them opt in or out. But this function might come in handy for, say, you have a special event coming up and you want, you have 10 people that you need at guest registration, and, for more event type positions where there are certain skill sets that are needed, or limitations for positions that you want a little bit more control over. So for our sake, I'm just going to do the general 18 people, so all of the volunteers I need for the full shift. I'm adding in my time, and for us it was 12 to 3. So make sure you're clicking the right AM, PM, and then it'll give you notes like the start time appears to be after the end time. So it's really nice to have kind of that intuition there, or the double checking, I guess, to make sure that it all looks right. Here's where you can select your individual dates. Now there is an opportunity that you can select a repeating schedule. However, it does get a little bit wonky. I was trying to test it to see if you could set up a recurring every other week. But for example, for this, for Mount Olivet Lab School, it is every other week through August, and then there's 2 weeks between the 26th and the 9th, just because, or there's 2 weeks in between one of these, and it doesn't allow you to say the first and the third Thursday of the month. It's either every week, every 2 weeks, or every 3 weeks. So I'm not sure that that's going to work out for the schedule for you, but take a look at your dates and see if it truly is an every other week schedule. You can certainly do that. Otherwise, you can go through and select the specific dates. So for this, our first one is July 22nd, so I'm going to select that. And again, there's all these double checks. You are adding 18 spots on one day. Perfect. Step 3 for creating the date is this extra details. And this is totally optional, but I would recommend using this spot for anything specific to the actual position. So for Second Harvest, we have this section under our sign up with details about what to wear, what the volunteer tasks are, a little bit of education around how we source the food, and then information about youth participants. So this would be a great place to put all of those details. And then when volunteers go in to take a look at the opportunity, this automatically pops up when they sign up for a shift. This information will come in their confirmation email as well. And I can show you what that looks like as well. So you certainly don't have to have all of this information, but it might be good to be thinking about what pieces of information would it be good for them to know ahead of time. So then you're just going to save this information, and a confirmation window pops up to show all the information that you just inputted. And you can view and print this if you're, for whatever reason, wanting to keep a binder or information in actual tangible paper form. Otherwise, I'll show you how you get back to this information as well. And just hit OK. So I'm actually going to just go through, zip through, and create a second date just so that you can see a second time how that date is created. So create a new spot. Oops. These add another buttons are if you, did I already go over this? If you are wanting to add the different So say you wanted to add client tracker, then you would add another button, and this all goes on the same date. So if you are wanting to divide up the tasks, that's how you would do that. For our sake, I'm going to keep them as one. Our next date is August 12th. And then the special notes again. So once you have all of the information that you're wanting to input set up, it is a pretty quick process to add dates to the calendar and make edits to that information. So I'm just going to end it at 2 just so that we can move through this process, but you can keep adding spots. And even once you're done doing the initial setup, you can continue to create new spots or edit the already created spots as well. Choosing the theme, go to the next button. Choosing the theme, you can certainly make this page as fun and inviting as you want. You can see all of these background characters. So this is on the page that when the volunteers come to sign up, these are the backgrounds. I would at least recommend adding an image and uploading your logo onto the page so that it's branded towards your organization. This is the one opportunity that they're going to see your name or your image to know that this is their site. Otherwise, everything else is branded for signup.com. So I would at least encourage uploading the logo for your organization. And then if you want a background color or background theme, you can play around with that for sure. I thought I saw some apples as a background theme, so there are some food options as well. And then the final step is on this invitation opportunity. So as you can see, there are many ways that you can invite people. You can have the signup.com send an email from its system directly. You just input all of the email addresses that you want to send it to. You can create your own message in this message box. This is completely editable. You can delete and add your own, and then click send the invitations, and then this system sends them directly. If you don't want to go that route, you have your own list, or you want the email to come from your specific email address or the email address of your organization, so volunteers can have that familiarity. You can also, it creates a specific link for you, so you can just copy and paste this link right here into an email. It does give sample text on, click this link, review the options, and then they will need to register an account to sign up and using their email address, but they don't share their email. So all of those kind of terms and conditions apply information. They create that for you if you want to include that as well. It gives you the opportunity to post on social media, so you can connect your Facebook page, your Twitter account, your Pinterest board if you have that. You can also just copy and paste that into any of your social media accounts as well. And then the final option is you can add a button. So if you did want to add this to your website as an opportunity that volunteers can just go to your website and they can click right through to sign up. That would have to be done through your editor, but it gives you all the information on how to create that button and whatnot. This is not a language that I understand, but whoever helps with your website support would understand how to embed this code into your website. So now that we've gone through all 4 of the steps for setup, I'm just going to click Done right up here in the top right-hand corner. And that is going to bring me to kind of this main toolbar page right here. So you can see on the calendar view, July 22nd, we have something scheduled. August 12th, we have something scheduled. You have options to toggle between that calendar view, or if you prefer a list view, you can see them all listed individually as well. So as you add more, you could see all 6. You can see how many people have signed up. So this is just kind of your great quick glance page. You also have the opportunity to do that from your main page, that home page at the very beginning that I showed you. So this was going back to that home page. I just clicked on the dashboard, and you can now see that the fresh produce distribution St. Paul, this is the new one we just created, and this is the one that I previously set up as an example. So you can have a quick view here of how many volunteers have signed up. This is also where you have the opportunity to do some management options. If you are wanting to add more users to be able to facilitate editing the page and running reports and whatnot, this is where you would go to it. So you would go under Manage and Details, and then scroll down to the organizer information, and this is where you can add an assistant organizer. This information should have also come to you via email when you created your initial account. There's a great kind of introductory email that comes that shows you that information. So so let me show you what the emails look like for a volunteer. So for this Fresh Produce Distribution Minneapolis, I emailed myself the link to sign up. And so this email is what your user would get if you do the signup.com generated email. They would get the title, this is that intro message, and then they get the links to actually go in and sign up. So you can go in and see I'm going to continue as this profile to show you that the volunteer has control. Once they have registered their email as signing up, they can go back in and register as that same person and see what they have signed up for. They can sign up for more spots. They have the opportunity to swap their spots. They can also sign up for more than one spot. So they can sign up for 3 or 4 spots. I will caution with this functionality, there isn't an opportunity to go in and add names to those other 3 people. That's something that would have to happen on a physical check-in or sign-in sheet. At least I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. There might be a way, and Dan might know that. That's one of the questions I'll be asking him and can follow up on. Otherwise, it'll just show that that Jess Swanson has 3 spots reserved. And you can always send a follow-up email asking for that information, and I'll show you how to do that. But I just wanted you to see what volunteers will see on their end as well. And maybe they'll add in a comment who else is participating with them. Once they have signed up, they get a confirmation email that looks just like this that says, thank you for signing up. You have signed up for 2 spots on July 25th for 4 to 7, and then there's all those details that we inputted as well, all those special details. So they'll get that in the confirmation email as well. So now going back to this dashboard, I just want to go through and show you all of the different functionalities that this dashboard has for you. And again, this is the dashboard once you've created the sign up and clicked the done button. That is when all of these opportunities will pop up. You won't see them until you actually click that done button and have finished the process of setting up the distribution. So you get your general details page that we set up, so you can always edit any of this information that you need. You get your spots, so these are the different dates that you have registered under this opportunity. And again, you have the option to view it in calendar or list, whichever way your brain filters information better. Under participants, you can see who is signed up for when. So you can see I've signed myself up for 3 different opportunities. So you can, this is just a quick view of all of the participants. In the reports is where you can see more details about it. You do have an opportunity to delete participants if you want. Back in the detail, or excuse me, rather in the spots, you can also, where is that? Under the details, you can assign a volunteer as well on the back end. So if you know, okay, Mary Smith doesn't have a computer, but I know she's going to want to sign up, you can add that information on the back end as well. If you already have that information, or if you know a group is taking 5 spots, you can from the back end. Again, that's under spots. I went into the list view, and under the specific date, there's this assign button that you can assign volunteers. Again, this is the participant list. Messages, this is where you can send direct messages. You can also send a thank you email as well. So this is for emails that you craft yourself. You can set up, under settings I'll go over, you can set up an automatic reminder email to be sent as well, so you don't have to worry about that. But for example, I saw that Mary signed up for 4 spots and I would like to know more information. So you can send an email to her, enter the text, and all of that information will come up and it will show up in your messages as well. Report. So this is a really cool functionality as well. So this is where you can get all of that information about your volunteers, and you can get it at a big view or a minimal view. So you can see, okay, who's just signed up. So you can see for a specific day, for the specific month, you can do all of your signups at once, or a specific date range. And then you'll always want to go down to view and print, and that's when it's going to pop up that information. So it's going to show you the information. So I just have 2 dates, so it's just showing me the date range, and it's showing, okay, I have 4 filled positions for this July 25th, and this right now is who is signed up, and I have 0 signed up for my August. So if you just want quick glances, if you're needing to just save this or send this to somebody, bring information to a meeting, you can just have a really quick glance. So that was the who's coming. You can actually create a sign up and check-in sheet. This, doesn't include editable fields. So for example, like we want them to be signing the civil, that they've read the civil rights or they've heard the civil rights. So this wouldn't be an opportunity that you could edit that information. You would have to either create a different document or also another little sign that goes next to it. But you can include the custom fields that we added. So if you want them to double check their information, you can make this a check-in sheet, or you can hide their contact details as well. So again, view and print, and this is how that sign-in sheet shows up, and so that they can just check the box or sign their initials. I don't think we're going to use this for the fresh produce distributions, but I did want to show you just as a functionality if you decide even during this 6 months time you're going to want to use this for a special event or other opportunities. This has that functionality as well. You can get a roster for your volunteers. The hour tracking is an upgrade. I think that's the next level up. So this report won't include the hours, but again, just another quick roster of who has signed up and who is participating with their information. And then the final one is this exporting as a CSV document, which is another type of Excel spreadsheet. And I would recommend using this, especially if you're not planning to continue using signup.com. You'll want to export all of the volunteer information that you're collecting through this. So exporting it as a CSV allows you to have that information just in a big data dump spreadsheet, and then you can use that how you want. So you're collecting all of that information. And that is going to provide information for all of the volunteers that sign up through this specific opportunity. It doesn't give you the opportunity to just date range export the information, so you can just do data cleanup in the spreadsheet itself if you're wanting to do that. And then it has this interactive reporting, and I haven't played around with this feature quite yet. I certainly will. But there may be opportunities to do some interactive data. But again, I wanted to just learn the basics for you, and I'll play around with that to see if there's any usable or valuable information. And I was hoping Dan would be on board to see if they've used any of this interactive data as well. So moving down the line here, you have the invitations. Again, those same 4 options. Send an email through signup.com, get the shareable link, invite using Facebook or Twitter, or add a button. So you can add those options at any time. You can send another invitation. It's not just a one and done. You can always go back in and add that information. And then under settings, this is where you have the opportunity at this level. You can add a waiver. So if you are wanting to add any sort of liability, photo permission, media releases, anything like that, you can add this. And then when volunteers are signing up, they will be prompted that they have to click I agree to this checkbox in order to participate. So I think that's a pretty cool function. We have that on the Second Harvest Heartland website, that they need to check that box. It's just a method of liability on our end to say, well, we've made this available. They did click that they read it. And there you go. This is also where you can manage all of your email preferences. So here's where you can send reminders to all of your participants, and from a drop-down it has how many days before their spot you want to send the reminder. Notify participants when spots are changed. So if you make any edits to that spot, so you change the shift time or the shift tasks, or any of those details are changed, that will automatically notify the participants that are signed up. There is a comments field for volunteers in the sign up process. So you can select if you want to get a daily summary or if you want to be notified immediately if somebody fills out those comments. Notify me when someone signs up. No, always. I mean, this is where you can really control how you're getting notified and your interactions with these signups. Notify me when someone cancels, and notify me when this sign up is full. Also under settings, there's this locking opportunity where you can lock a site so that no other participants can sign up. The only other way to do that would be to either archive the position or to go in yourself and assign all of the spots or reducing the numbers. But this way you could lock or unlock as you see fit. So you could lock if for example, it's, oh, I've heard that there is potentially a group of 5 that are interested, but they haven't confirmed yet. So I'm going to lock the sign up just so I don't get those 5 more volunteers on here until I hear from that group. Oh, looks like that group fell through, so now I'm going to unlock this sign up so that we can fill those last spots. It's just a lot easier way to manage the signups rather than always having to change the number of spots available and to do all of that editing. There is also an opportunity back on the main page of the dashboard here to create a group page. And I played around with this a little bit. The way that I would see potentially using this is if you get a group of, you know, really dedicated volunteers, or you have some volunteers that like to volunteer in multiple different positions. And if you're going to go ahead and implement this signup.com page for all of your volunteer spots, you can create a special group where you can limit the amount of people that are invited to this group, and they can see all of the signups in one place versus always having to get an individual email every time a new sign up or a new position is created. They can just come to this one group page and see all of the opportunities here. Okay, I think that covers the general functionality of how to set this up, seeing it from the volunteer side as well as the back end. I know that's a lot of information to have gone through right now, but hopefully as you get in here and play around with it, you'll probably become a lot more knowledgeable than even I will. But from my perspective, it seems very user-friendly and very intuitive. You always have, you know, drop-downs. This is where, you know, your tools, you can pass the baton if you want somebody else to become the main organizer. Say you're leaving the organization or you're stepping away from this project and you don't want to receive any more emails, you can pass the baton completely to somebody else. You can duplicate this opportunity, or you can archive. So once the season is over, you can archive this, and it's saved so that you can duplicate it later, but volunteers can no longer sign up for that opportunity. They also have a really great help center, and at your level there is some premium support offered beyond just the basic level. So if there's questions that I'm not able to answer, I would recommend using this website's help center as well. That is all I have lined up to show you. So now I will turn it over to see if anybody has any specific questions, or if you have tips or ideas or anything like that.
Thank you very much, Jess. So Dave and Rachel and Samantha, if you would like to ask a question verbally, please go ahead and click on the little hand icon that should be showing up on the bar to the left that's attached to the control panel on the right side of your screen. If you're not seeing your screen, there's a little arrow. You can expand it. We'll just take a couple minutes to see if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, then we'll wrap it up. All right, I am seeing Samantha's hand has gone up. Samantha, I have unmuted you, so go ahead.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, great. So we actually have just two questions. One is related to the add a button and the link to send out the event. So when we send that out, because we're trying to put this out on our Facebook page, and we're planning on using this for more than just the produce distribution.
Yeah.
Do you know if we put the button out on the website, will that go directly just to, let's say, the produce distribution, and they won't be able to see the other events?
Yes, that is a really great question. That is my understanding, is that the button is created for this specific or for this specific opportunity versus your organizer page as a whole. There might be a general button that you can add, but I would have to ask support for that so that they could see all of the opportunities.
Sure. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And then the other question we have, so I went in and created the account, and I tried adding Quentin as the organizer. But then when he went in, he was not seeing the same premium options that I had access to. So we're just trying to figure out how that works, I guess.
That's also something I'm going to have to play around with, because I did not play around with adding an organizer. So let me play around with that, and I can also just ask, that might be a question just to ask their help desk as well. I know they do have some help FAQs, but then also just the contacting the support. Because of the premium plan, there is an elevated level of response rate rather than just a regular user. So you might have good feedback on that, but that is not good. That is not how I had anticipated.
Sure, yeah, and right now we're just using kind of the same login information, but it'd be nice if we could be able to separate that.
Yeah, I'll try to do a little bit of homework on that for sure.
Great, thank you. That's all we had.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for going in and playing around on that before the webinar too. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oops. Thanks, Samantha. Jess, we have a question from Rachel. It is, when we created the account, we used a general email, info at, etc. When entering organizer information. Is it possible to change it to her direct email?
Oh. That's another really great question. I'm wondering if under the profile section, you would be able to change this right here instead. So under your account, that should say the info email, and then if you just update that information, it would change that automatically. I would say try that first, and then if that doesn't work, let me know and we can contact their support for sure.
All right. Jess, I had a question I wrote down. Do you recommend that the phone number be a required field, just in case there are cancellations? Then the agency or the organizer would have the ability to contact the volunteers by phone if necessary.
Yes, I would recommend that. just because for that short information or the short turnaround on weather cancellations, and also just from a data gathering perspective, like we always want as much information from our volunteers as possible. So if you can make it required, I would make it required. And then you can determine if you start getting a lot of pushback, like I don't want to give my phone number, or if you start seeing a lot of fake phone numbers like 555, 555, those fake phone numbers, then you can reevaluate having that field be required. But we don't see a lot of pushback. Like we've just implemented at Second Harvest requiring addresses, which we thought we would get a lot of volunteer pushback from that, but we were pleasantly surprised and haven't seen it. So I would say try asking for the most amount of information first, and then if you start seeing pushback, then backtracking or reevaluating how you could either get that information then the day of or whatnot.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any additional questions? Dave or Rachel or Samantha? Otherwise, if you do think of questions later, you know how to find us. You should have Jess's and mine. You can always reach out to your account specialist. Otherwise, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join in the webinar this afternoon. It's a really great way for us to be able to share this information quickly and with all of you. I want to thank you very much for helping us test this application. This is going to be great value, I think, to the FRESH program in general. It also is going to help us evaluate it as a tool for ourselves at Second Harvest, and so we really, really appreciate this. I do believe you'll get an automatic email from GoToWebinar, which may have an evaluation of how you thought the webinar worked as a tool. Otherwise, this has been recorded, and so I will be following up with a more specific follow-up email. It will have the link to the recording. It may have some additional information if we've been able to get that from Dan at Prism by the time we send this out. Otherwise, I think that wraps it up for today. Thanks everyone for coming. And thank you, Jess, for doing this for us. This was just a terrific presentation, I thought.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and again, just another quick caveat, as we're all learning this stuff, sharing with each other what you're learning and new tools is always great. I'm certainly not an expert on this website. I just kind of played around with it for a couple hours to figure this out. So use that support tool. Otherwise, I'm happy to help support and try to answer any questions I can.
All right. Thank you, Jess. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.